Americans are pulling back on dining out as higher prices force tougher choices, signaling a potential turning point for the U.S. restaurant industry. Now, a new McKinsey analysis shows food away from home now accounts for more than half of U.S. food spending, but growth is leveling off as inflation, tariffs, and economic uncertainty squeeze consumers. Gen X and baby boomers are cutting back the most, especially lower and middle income households. Now, younger and higher income consumers are still spending just through different channels, leaving restaurants to adapt or fall behind. Well, joining me here at the New York Stock Exchange today is Saleem Khatri, CEO of Lavu, an AI-driven fintech platform for the restaurant industry. Well, Saleem, great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Rami. I'm super excited to be here.
Well, great to have you here because as we kick off the new year, it's usually about New Year's resolutions. But if you watch any reality TV show about the restaurant industry, we know management is key. So give us an idea of why restaurant managed software is so important.
You know, restaurant operators typically don't start restaurants because they want to run the business. They start a restaurant because they want to serve our families and folks like ourselves. So this is a perfect time for them to be able to do that. And with the advent of tools that are AI driven, it allows them to focus on what matters most to them and the things that they love to do.
Yeah, so whether we're talking about Americans who want to go to restaurants or even restaurant owners who are struggling right now, give us a better idea of what some of the biggest pain points are when it comes to the restaurant industry.
Yeah, so 8 to 12% of profits are basically being leaked on any given year, 8 to 12% of revenue, right? And so the restaurant industry is a $900 billion industry in the United States alone, growing at, call it 3 to 4%. And we expect that to accelerate with the GDP under this current administration. And so what that means is they're leaving more than 100 plus on the table. What we've built is a software that analyzes 50,000 signals every single day that can go and help these restaurant operators put money back into their pocket without having to lift a finger. And that's really, really compelling for them.
Yeah, and speaking of which, here on Wall Street, we pay attention to artificial intelligence, not just the companies there, but the technology and what it means for society and for industry. So can you tell us a little bit about how your AI has actually helped restaurants out there reduce waste and also maximize profits?
Absolutely. So we have an example of a global fast casual restaurant chain, very, very well known. I received their data, and across only 5 locations within 48 hours, I was able to recover $2.3 million. That $2.3 million is equal to the profits they had for those 5 locations for all of 2026. Now, because we found that money, they can now reinvest back into their staff, they can reinvest back into their food, they can reinvest back into the quality of service, which then affects the consumer, which is a win-win for everybody.
So do you think AI is going to become essential for restaurant owners out there? And why is it so important to connect all the moving parts within the industry?
AI is going to be a huge part of our lives across the board. We've already seen it touch computer software, legal, and other businesses, but AI is actually coming to Main Street with restaurants. And it's so important because it's going to allow people to focus on, again, doing things that they actually love to do, not having to worry about the mundane items that are still left, that are being neglected on a day-to-day basis.
And speaking of which, on this Tuesday morning, as we come back from the long holiday weekend here in the U.S., tariffs as well as geopolitics are front and center. And when we take a look at the U.S. economy, we know that labor is key here, especially when we're talking about the restaurant industry. So how does AI actually help predict some of the needs as well as inventory shortages?
Oh, it's massive. So the AI is very predictive. It's going to be reading all the data, and each restaurant has between 8 to 12 disconnected tools that they use at any given time. So it's going to parse all that data, ingest it, and then it's going to be able to say, hey, you should bring on another shift worker at this time because that's when the traffic is the highest. Or automatically go and reorder your ribeye and steak. And as you can see, this permeates through the economy, right? You have more people working on doing things that are much more revenue generating, so the restaurant or the company is going to be bringing them back more often, and you have money flowing through the system because you're having purchases, and it just has a massive effect, which is very, very important in what this administration is trying to do.
And finally, before I let you go, we are kicking off the new year, and of course, we're looking ahead to the rest of 2026. So what are some trends within the industry that you think will be key, not just for restaurant owners out there, as well as hospitality businesses, but also for American consumers?
I think you're going to see an increased focus on personalization and experiences. So when you go to a hotel or when you go to a restaurant, they're going to greet you by your name, and they're going to know what your preferences are before you go to your room. And I think that's very, very important, especially in this competitive environment. But the only way to do that is to take all the amazing data that we have today, ingest it, understand it, and then give it back to the operators in a way that they can use to make folks like yourself happy.
So is the AI going to know what I want to eat even before I place an order?
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to know what pillow you like, feather or foam. It's going to know what you like to eat, what your favorite drink is, and what your favorite place to stay is at any given time. It's definitely the future.
Well, Saleem, we will have to leave it there, but thank you so much for joining me, and thank you so much for sharing all of your insights.
Thank you.
My pleasure.